Alright, Spider-Man Far From Home spoiler review, which is a solid spoiler warning for anybody who has not seen this movie. Don't watch this review. I have a non-spoiler review down in the channel if you go subscribe and check that out and come back to watch this review, because I'm going to talk a bunch of spoilers because this movie has a lot of twists and turns that I absolutely loved. So let's get right with it with the biggest possible spoiler I can give this movie, which is that it starts off with, a little video message memoriam of Tony Stark, and it's the high school, news section. It's hysterical. I loved that aspect of the movie. But to be all serious, guys, spoilers in this movie, that was very slight. Let's get into some of the bigger and kind of just the big twist in this movie, which I mentioned in my non-spoiler review. So let's kick off with something a little bit lighter, which is the MJ and Peter storyline, which I absolutely loved Zendaya and Tom Holland in this movie. Their chemistry is just fantastic, and I love that Zendaya's character figured out who Peter Parker was right from the beginning, that she was just kind of trying to figure out throughout the entire time she knew Peter was like, she was watching him because she liked him, but also, she's able to figure out that he was Spider-Man, which is not that hard to do. I love that they did that. It's something that they've always hid away from Spider-Man movies in the past, and you just get it over with, have fun with it, and that's what they did. They made MJ a really unique character in this movie, different from everything else we've seen before with Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone. Let's do a different take, and I think that they did a really good job with that aspect of this movie. And of course, getting to the thick of it, we all want to talk about Mysterio in this movie, and who thought Mysterio was not going to be a villain in this movie? Of course he is. That's one of the big reveals. That's not as surprising as other reveals that happened, especially in Spider-Man Homecoming with Vulture. I thought that was a great plot twist in the movie, and this one does have its twists and turns, and this is really the first big twist that really from this point on, when he figured out that he is the villain, that he's using the projection tech and he's using different people from Iron Man's past to get at him. And I thought ever since that scene forward, this movie just was excellent, almost perfect. I loved the last half of this movie, and Mysterio is a big part of it, because I know Mysterio is a villain. I wanted to see Mysterio and how, he's like tricking everybody into thinking he's a good guy, and I love that he just wants to be the hero, but in doing so he's hurting all these people, and I love that aspect of this movie. And I thought the projection tech was really cool, and if you think about it, it's really interesting thinking about how Spider-Man could fight the Hydro Man, the water elemental in the beginning of this movie, because how do you web up a creature like that? You can't if you're Spider-Man. So I thought it was really cool that once you found out that it was the drones, he was able to fight the drones off, and he was able to defeat and save the day that way. And there is no multiverse. The snap did not open up a portal to a different world, and he's not from a different Earth, and I love that they switched that up. They are not doing a multiverse, which can get very messy if you don't do it right. So I think it's a smart choice to do that, and I think it's a good way to kind of turn the character into something different. And I love that they're not doing a multiverse, even though I thought maybe that's the window to get the X-Men into the universe. But you know what? I'm fine with it not. You can find other ways to get them in there. But then, of course, you get to the big twist with Mysterio, and that he always has a plan A, B, C, D, E, and F, and he has this line that his buddy has, who is the guy from the first Iron Man, and he says, how in the world are you going to twist this one to go in your favor? Because it all seems done for Mysterio. He lost, he's going insane, he's letting all the drones out, he's giving up his illusion, which, a magician never gives up his tricks, but he does that towards the end of this movie, and you find out why in the first post-credit scene, which I thought was genius. I love this post-credit scene, even though it completely changes the movie and your perception of how you see Spider-Man in the future. It's insane. So how it is Mysterio recorded this thing with his illusion, like projection thing of him saying that Spider-Man is who unleashed these drones, and he killed Mysterio, which I'm really upset that they killed Jake Gyllenhaal, but I don't think he would want to come back because he turned down Batman and all this stuff with him in franchises. I don't think he's going to be returning, which is sad, but I love that he had his one final punch from the grave, and he revealed that Peter Parker is Spider-Man over the news, which is just stressed me out, guys. I am freaking out over that. And then Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons is back, which is mind-blowing. The best cameo I have ever seen. I love that they're bringing back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I think that was perfect casting in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and it was just so perfect to see him kind of spinning the whole Mysterio turned Spider-Man bad thing, because of course J.K. Simmons would do that, and it's just I love that first post-credit scene. It really does change the entire movie, because if you stop the movie as soon as the movie ends and those first the first set of credits start, it's a completely different movie. It's a happy ending. It's nice. MJ is swinging with Peter Parker over the streets of New York, which also we have not got to see that yet with this Spider-Man. He hasn't swung through the streets of New York yet. Andrew Garfield's the last time we saw that, and Homecoming didn't have anything like that. So it's really cool to see a classic Spider-Man story and just the style of swinging that he has in the comics finally in the MCU. But then there was that twist with Mysterio, and man, that is going to mess a lot of things up. I think it's genius. And of course, there's that second post-credit scene where it's revealed, throughout the movie you see Nick Fury, he's kind of stumbling around. He's not the Nick Fury you think he even Jon Favreau's character is, giving him shit with how he's like, oh, I'm kind of the boss of you now. And it's really funny, and it's kind of out of character for Nick Fury. But in the post-credit scene, you find out that was really Ben Mendelsohn's character from Captain Marvel, the Skrull, and that is really cool. You see this huge civilization of Skrulls living, with Nick Fury kind of living up in space with all of them, which is really interesting. I really don't know what they can be doing with that, but the Skrulls are everywhere. They're kind of infiltrating. Who knows if they're going to I know the Secret Wars storyline is the Skrulls are villains, and this, if you watch Captain Marvel, obviously the Skrulls are not villains in this universe, but it's kind of interesting to try to think how they're going to do this, what it means that the Skrulls are on Earth. I like how Nick Fury is using Ben Mendelsohn's character Talos as his own little Nick Fury, so he can be in two places at once to see everything, because of course Nick Fury sees everything, and I think all of that is very fascinating to see how they're going to use the Skrulls in the future of the MCU. So that is the Spider-Man Far From Home review. I cannot wait for Phase 4 of Marvel. I think it's going to kick off. I'll leave in the end card my video with my brother talking about the predictions for Phase 4 of Marvel. We have a whole thing set up there with it capping off with A-Force, and then Fantastic Four is going to be in there. No X-Men in Phase 4, but we have a whole different video if you want to check that out. It'll be in this little end card or in the description, so check that out. I cannot wait for Phase 4 Marvel. This is a very solid epilogue to Avengers Endgame's end of Phase 3. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Check out all my future videos. If you want to see more spoiler reviews, make sure you guys comment below. Let me know. Tell me your thoughts of the movie yourself. If you have any theories of how they're going to use these Skrulls, or how they're going to use Mysterio's whole twist and how Peter is kind of thrown into the pits. He's now outed as Spider-Man, as a villain, and it's kind of insane. Who knows what they're going to do. I love this movie. I think it has a lot of great twists and turns and a lot to talk about. So guys, sound off in the comments. Let's talk about this movie, and I hope to see you all down there in the comments.